Hello and welcome along to the latest edition of Greyhound Gold. I'm joined by royalty. The King's here. It's Hayden King. How do you do, Haydos?
Very well, Shorty. Fantastic to be back alongside you. Really looking forward to it. We got the Middle Distance Challenge final on a Friday night at Mandurah, and then we roll into Cannington. Those finally delayed heats of the Puppy Classic. We've got some top dogs going around there.
Certainly have. Let's go back to last week and a heat of the Mandurah Middle Distance Challenge. And the fastest qualifier zooms around here from box number 3. Jamie Keeping rolls to the top in the early stages. The Kennel Mates, Ballistic Ant and Chloe Ant sitting second and third, with Rhino Bale back in fourth. Then down the back, and Jamie Keeping just keeps on trucking up front, puts a little gap on Chloe Ant and Ballistic Ant. Then back to If You Say, turning for home, and Jamie Keeping in no danger, just keeps on rolling up front and gets home comfortably, beating Chloe Ant. Ballistic Ant's there for second, and Couch Surfer was luckless. It finished back in fourth position. 14-17, 25-30, 37-02 overall. The fastest qualifier margins, 3.5 by 4.25. Congratulations to the Shane Train Williams and his hard-working helpers while he's been across in Ireland, living fat, having a wonderful old time. The kennel have never gone better.
Yeah, well, maybe you should have just stayed there.
We'll know this Friday night because, of course, along with Jamie Keeping, he's also got Stevie Manelli, who was another really impressive heat winner on the night. But it's going to be a cracking race. Flying Free has come up around about $2.20 on the fix with Tap Tuts to take out that feature final on Friday night. Speaking of which, let's find you a winner or two potentially on Friday night. I'm going to head to race 6, number 1, as my best bet on the card, Hinto. Gee, this dog's got a wonderful record track and trip at Mandurah. Comes up with box number 1. A number of its key rivals have drawn off the track. It's thought that Hinto generally begins quite well at Mandurah. Wasn't always known for its early speed at Cannington, but since the new Mandurah tracks opened up, Hinto has found that leg early on in its races. Should be able to punch up, hold the rail, and from there, I think it'll be very hard to beat. So race 6, number 1, Hinto at the best. Looking for a bit of value late in the card with race 11, number 4, Mazuma Mayhem. Now, this greyhound drops in distance here from 400 to 300, but more importantly, it drops in grade to a country grade 5 and 6. This dog's been winning much tougher races through its career than this grade. Thought it was just a chance to potentially have the class to pick up its opposition. If one or two of them ping, they're off and gone, then so be it. But it should be at a decent price. I'm happy enough to have a small spec on it on Friday night, race 11, number 4, Mazuma Mayhem. Over to you, Hayden. Who do you like?
Starting off early, race 1, number 8, Sand Cruiser. This dog resumed off a lengthy absence last week and dominated that field. It was near track record stuff over the 300 metres there. Really well bred from West on Bay. We've seen this litter do some great things, and it was hidden in plain sight really last week. Trialled the house down before that satisfactorily, went to the races, did the job. I see box 8 as being perfect. Can just build up the momentum, whiz across from the 300 start, and I think that'll be it. Breaking 17 seconds should break their hearts. Race 1, number 8, Sand Cruiser. Into race 11, number 1, Hecton's Boy. You and I are comparing notes here. Hecton, he's a proven stayer who showed his versatility last start, winning over the 300 metres from box 7. Box 1, I can see him doing enough to dig up and lead. It is a little bit tougher opposition, including Mazuma Mayhem, who's in the race, but providing he does enough to lead, they're not going to be catching him, so I think he's going to be very hard to beat. Race 11, number 1, Hecton's Boy.
Yeah, but prior to that most recent win over this distance, I would have looked sideways at you, because you don't expect a dog that runs over those sort of trips to come over this distance and measure up, but the win was good, and the time was on the board too. So, respecting your thoughts there when it comes to race number 11. It might be a nice Quinella play. Let's move into Cannington Saturday night. Heats of the Puppy Classic. We've got some really talented youngsters strutting their stuff out here on Saturday night. And I'm going to go to a heat of the Puppy Classic for my best bet. Race 6, number 2, Cubit Manelli. This dog's one of the fastest campaigners in the state right now. It's put some hot times on the board. Mandurah over the 400, 488. Come to Cannington, run some really sizzling times. Just needs to get that little bit of room to operate early on in its races. If it gets that on Saturday night, I think it'll be really humming along, and we'll get a really good look at just what this dog's capable of and head into the final as one of the key prospects. So best bet, race 6, number 2, Cubit Manelli. Then I'm going to the Crustacean, race 9, number 3, Wise Kunak. This greyhound's coming off a really impressive performance last time out, set a new personal best on that occasion, and I just thought, looking at this race, pretty similar sort of lineup, just needs to get that start right, get room to muster up, and once it gets that, it can really zoom into a race. Coming off that PB, something similar, rinse and repeat job, we can see a run out of Wise Kunak on Saturday night. So best of them race 6 number 2, Cubit Manelli, value 9-3 Wise Kunak. How do you see Saturday night, Hayden?
I like our inside scoop in the 4th race, number 1. I was all over him last start, and it just didn't turn out after he missed the start from an outside box. He loves an inside box. He's had 6 starts, 3 wins, 3 placings. I could see him balancing up behind them, building up the revs into that first corner as he does, and gee, he's going to be hard to hold out. So race 4, number 1, inside scoop, and he's at an attractive enough price, near enough $4. So happy to play there. And you went with the crustacean. I'm going with the arachnid. Spider Venom, race 8, number 2. This dog, he's been running well lately. He's always a smoky in these kind of fields, but I think he's going as well as ever, and he's hitting the line strongly. Can see a bit of pace in this. I can see a bit going on. Weston Booney's obviously a bit of a class runner in the race, but he's got a bit of pressure to his outside, and he's not always the safest beginner. So if Spider Venom can track up behind them along the rail, he's got to be hard to hold out if he's within shouting distance. Race 8, number 2.
Yeah, he dropped back to 380 a few starts ago, and he didn't begin the best, but the way he zoomed into the race and won it, I think would have been really good for the dog's confidence, Spider Venom. So I think again a really nice value play from Hayden there on a Saturday night. If you're yet to make plans for this weekend, get out here trackside on Saturday night, Cannington, or indeed Mandurah Friday night. These beautiful warm nights, there's nothing like having a night out at the track. So get in contact with the team at Greyhounds WA and make a night of it trackside over the next little bit. Hayden, it's been wonderful catching up with you again.
Likewise, Shorty.
Well, punters, make sure you tune in. We'll see who's with me next week for our next big edition of Greyhound Gold.